Okay, now on to a magazine submission, magazine economy. Surprised we got these back so fast. Most of those invoices that we've just gone through, I fast-tracked, which means that you have to pay an extra $10 per book to get CGC to jump on them and get them back to you in a reasonable amount of time. On the books that had lesser values, I didn't bother on the invoice, put all the lesser value books on one invoice or two and not fast track them. And on the more desirable stuff, you know, if you have a Spider-Man 121, 122, or a Hulk 181, I would put that definitely on a fast track because it can be months and months before you see your books if you send them in economy or value and don't fast track them. A lot of people get upset that CGC has had their books for 6 months and they wonder what the heck is going on. To avoid that situation, you got to grease them well, give them an extra $10 per book, which is on the invoice. But one of the drawbacks from the magazine submissions is they don't allow fast tracking on magazines. But yet I still got these back within a reasonable amount of time, so CGC must like me. First of all, we had a short invoice here. We only got 12 titles on here. Of the 12 we sent in, 4 of them came back on. 2 of them were for customers, which were some turtles, which he got back in 9/6, which I don't have anymore. And he's already got his copies, his books, picked them up. We got 3 books that came in down from what we thought, and 5 books that came back up from what we thought. So it's a good invoice in general. Of the things we got back, these are the things that came back as we thought they would. An emergency #1 with a very nice Neil Adams cover, which comes out to be the 4th best CGC copy. There are only 3 better in 9/6. Not a valuable book, but a book that is growing in popularity, and for people who have an appreciation of Neil Adams, who is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best artists of the previous century, and one of my reasons for the fact that I own a comic shop today. I have a great appreciation of Mr. Neil Adams. A 9/8 on a Atlas Seaboard comic, magazine that is. This was the company that didn't live very long, which was came about because Martin Goodman, the publisher of Marvel Comics, once he sold Marvel Comics for a pittance, which was supposed to be $16 million, which Jack Kirby said he could have gotten $16 million for Ant-Man alone, and that Martin Goodman was an idiot. He sold the company, and after he sold the company, Martin expected the people he had in place in management and publishing would stay there. And I believe it was a relative of his that he had positioned that way. And once he sold the company, the new owners dismissed that person, which pissed Martin Goodman off. So he decided to go ahead and start another company again, using the name that he had kind of once used, called Atlas, and to go against, he thought he was going to take down his old Marvel comics and show them that he could do it all over again. So he came out with the Atlas Seaboard line, which they weren't the greatest comics. They did use a lot of Marvel artists and DC artists, and there were some good artists involved there. Story-wise, they never came to much, and most of their issues didn't last past, I don't know, I don't know if they had anything that lasted until issue 5 even. But still, an interesting thing. If you want to know about Martin Goodman and some of the dirt behind Marvel Comics, there's 2 very good books. One is Marvel Comics, The Untold Story with Sean Howe, and the other one is The Secret History of Marvel Comics by Blake Bell. The Blake Bell thing covers Martin Goodman and his pulps for the most part, and his early Golden Age comic books. And so I'm not sure where that story came from about the Atlas Seaboard. I think it's in here, but it could be in either book, and they're both very good reads and very interesting if you want to know a lot of the dirt behind Martin Goodman's empire. Continuing on, we have 3 books that came in at less than I expected them to come in. I made another mistake here to balance out the 2 mistakes that CGC made with my books. I mislabeled this stupidly as A Savage Sword of Conan 2. It's not. It's Marvel Comics Super Special #2. Something I referred to in our earlier videos. Doing the CGC invoice, you have to have the correct information down, or else it will mess up, slow down your books and everything. You got to be able to figure out the correct date, or the correct title, and even sometimes people who are knowledgeable and have 40+ years in the business get things wrong, as CGC gets things wrong sometimes too. And I made a mistake there. I mislisted this book, and I did expect to get something better on this. I expected a 9.4. Maybe they bitch slapped me a little bit on this because I mislabeled it, and they only gave me a 9.0. No problem. Once again, this came back a little less than I expected it to be, but this is the first origin of the Punisher, magazine format, highly desirable book. It's not up there at 9.8, but it guides just in 9.2 for over $200. We'll easily get 200 or better for that. And then there's renewed interest in a lot of the Marvel magazines. One of them also being, they're the Marvel horror books, and there's the Marvel Kung Fu books, and there's even some Marvel magazine science fiction and so forth. This came back as even as a 9.2. This is still the 5th best CGC copy, even at that low grade. Okay. Finally, on the invoice, there are the things that we got back that graded it better than we expected them to. Okay. First series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original Mirage Studios issues. #3 at 9.6. One of the Marvel horror magazines featuring Morbius and Blade both. Excuse me. Marco.
Rubio.
Excuse me. Even as a 9.6, this is the best available CGC copy. There are no 9.8s. There are 6 in 9.6, but no 9.8s. Perhaps it has to do with being a darker cover. Often darker covers end up showing little ticks on the spine, little breakage of color. And this is a dark cover, and this one doesn't, so that's probably why there's an absence of 9.8s. Okay, a low issue at #2 with a very nice Neil Adams cover of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. This is a 9.8 copy, and they don't get any better than that. That's the top of the line. This is one of 9 in 9.8, and these really, really, really surprised me. We have any customers here who come into the store, they should immediately go down and grab up all the raw copies of low numbers of Famous Monsters we got, because I cannot believe the grades I got on these. My expectations on this issue #12 was a 6.0. I end up getting an 8.5 out of what we had in the store as a 6.0. That's a grade jump of 5 grades, 5 points. 6.0, 6.5, 7.0, 7.5, 8, 8.5. 5 increases above what I thought it would be. And I thought that there was a fair amount of staining and discoloration and stuff on the back that CGC would certainly whack me for. But for some reason whatsoever, I got an 8.5 out of that, and I can't explain it, but I'll take it to the bank. And this also we had in the store, and basically I was just trying to, there was a bunch of Famous Monsters, raw graded, that we had that I passed on because I just thought they weren't worth CGCing. I almost passed on this. We had this as an in-store as a 5.0, and it came back a 7.0, which would be from 5.0 to 5.5 to 6 to 6.5 to 7, 4 grades above what I thought it would be, 4 grades above what we were selling it for the store, a 5.0. Very happy to get that. I'm going to be sending them a lot more Famous Monsters.